Beyonce finally snaps after Jay-Z's secret child files hit the internet. Jay-Z might have built an empire worth billions, but lately it seems like the past keeps showing up at his door, this time in the form of a 28-year-old woman from Maryland named Leticia Mer. Now, Leticia isn't just anybody stirring up drama for attention. According to her, she's Jay-Z's first daughter, and she's not just claiming it on vibes and a vague resemblance. No, she came armed with throwback photos, public posts, and even DNA results saying, "I've been quiet for too long." Let's be real, hip-hop fans have joked for years about rappers having secret kids scattered around the country, but this one's different. Leticia claims she grew up knowing Jay-Z was her father, yet didn't know how to handle it. Her mother, Lisa, allegedly had a relationship with Jay back in the early 90s. In fact, Leticia posted a photo of Jay-Z and Lisa together from 1990 with a caption that straight up said, "Meet the parents." That's the kind of post that breaks the internet. And it did. People started digging. Some called her bluff, but others, including folks from her hometown, backed her up, saying everybody in the area already knew the story. What makes Leticia's claim really hit different is the emotional weight behind it. She's not just saying, "Hey, I'm Jay-Z's kid." She's telling a story about watching her mom battle multiple sclerosis, raising 4 kids including twins, working 2 jobs, and somehow still managing to keep it together. Leticia talks about living in the shadows, trying to figure out where she belongs in a world where her alleged father is one of the most powerful men in entertainment, and yet completely silent about her. So what finally made her go public? According to her, it was the DNA test. That was the final push. Once she had proof, at least in her eyes, she felt like she couldn't keep quiet any longer. She started posting on Instagram saying it was time to tell her story, and naturally, the internet exploded. Some folks accused her of chasing clout, others sent threats, but she stood her ground, even saying, "I get it. Your favorite rapper has a secret you just can't handle." Here's where things get murky. Leticia actually filed a paternity suit against Jay-Z in California, but the case was dismissed after Jay-Z's team didn't respond. Not because they proved her wrong, just because they didn't show up. Leticia says that silence speaks volumes. And there's more. She claims Jay-Z quietly bought her a $1,700,000 0 cents lake house in Maryland and made her sign an NDA to stop talking about it. She hasn't confirmed the NDA part outright, but her post stopped not long after that rumor surfaced. So now the internet is torn. Some believe she's telling the truth, that Jay-Z did what a lot of powerful men do, tried to clean up a personal mess privately instead of facing it publicly. Others think she's using a few blurry receipts and small-town gossip to spin a viral story for sympathy and fame. But one thing's for sure, this isn't the first time Jay-Z's name has been pulled into a secret kid controversy. There's also Ramier Satterthwaite, the young man who's been claiming for years that Jay-Z is his father too. His case got dismissed as well, and yet he's been pushing for a paternity test for over a decade. At this point, people are starting to wonder if there's a pattern forming. Are these just coincidences, or is something bigger going on behind the scenes? Either way, it's looking more and more like Jay-Z's carefully guarded privacy might be cracking. Leticia's story lit a match, but it was the firestorm around Beyonce that really made things explode. Fans started asking questions that even the most loyal Beehive members couldn't ignore. If Jay-Z really does have multiple children outside of his marriage, how much of this did Beyonce know, and when did she find out? Because it's not just about cheating or a scandal, this is legacy, this is family. And for someone as image conscious and calculated as Beyonce, the idea that her husband's hidden past might publicly crash into their present? That's a PR nightmare. The whispers started to grow louder when fans dug up one of Leticia's old posts quoting someone from the Beyonce fandom who basically said, "We love Queen Bey, but every child deserves their father." That comment set off a chain reaction. Some argued Beyonce was standing in the way of Jay acknowledging these alleged kids. Others said she was just trying to keep her family from falling apart. Either way, people were dragging her into the middle of something that had nothing to do with her and yet somehow everything to do with her. To make matters worse, Leticia wasn't backing down. She said her mom's story was well known in the area and that people had always whispered about Jay-Z being her dad. Her posts became bolder, even emotional. She said, "I was silent for years. I kept all my truth inside because I knew nothing good would come from speaking out. But they kept pushing me and now I'm here." She talked about being labeled a liar, a clout chaser, even a fraud, but still stood tall, claiming the DNA had her back and Jay-Z's team had no defense. Then there's the part that's almost too wild to believe. Leticia's friends started saying that the house she supposedly got in Maryland wasn't just a gift, it was hush money. Word is, Jay-Z's team bought the $1,700,000 0 cents property under a different name, had Leticia sign legal papers, and made it crystal clear, no more talking. Leticia never confirmed those exact details herself, but shortly after those rumors popped up, her social media went quiet. She stopped talking about the situation, deleted a few posts, and dropped completely off the radar. That silence? It spoke louder than anything else. Meanwhile, Ramir Satterthwaite's name started trending again. His story had been simmering for a while, but Leticia's emergence put new fuel in his fight. Ramir claims he's been trying to get a paternity test from Jay-Z for over a decade. His most recent case was also dismissed, but what shook people was Jay-Z's legal team attempting to make Ramir pay for their legal fees afterward. That move backfired, though. The judge denied it, saying there wasn't a strong enough reason to punish Ramier for seeking the truth. Ramier later gave a statement that hit a nerve with fans. He said he didn't care if the answer was no, he just wanted closure. He said he could handle embarrassment. What he couldn't handle was being ignored. The more he talked, the more people began to see the emotional toll these unanswered questions were having. Not just on him, but potentially on others out there who might share his DNA. Jay-Z hasn't said a word publicly. That's not surprising. He's built his whole brand around silence, privacy, and selective storytelling. But the internet doesn't operate on silence. It thrives on chaos, on theories, on speculation. And when one story dies down, another one rises to take its place. Now, people are wondering if there are more hidden kids out there, just waiting for the courage or the proof to speak up next. Jay-Z's empire wasn't built overnight, but the cracks in its foundation are now showing in broad daylight. With Leticia and Ramir both stepping forward, each with their own stories, receipts, and emotional baggage, the spotlight has shifted from music and business to paternity tests and family silence. What started as quiet whispers has turned into a cultural conversation about accountability, fatherhood, and power. Leticia's most emotional post wasn't about the money, the fame, or even Jay-Z himself. It was about her childhood. She painted a picture of growing up in a city where people knew her truth, but no one dared to say it out loud. She talked about watching her mother fade away, physically and emotionally, while carrying the weight of a secret relationship with one of the most influential men in the world. Whether people believed her or not, the pain in her words felt real. Her story resonated with those who felt forgotten, hidden, or erased, especially by powerful men who had the luxury to pretend nothing ever happened. That's what makes this situation so raw. It's not just about proving biological ties, it's about emotional abandonment. It's about kids who didn't ask to be born into controversy, struggling to be acknowledged while their alleged father lives in a gated mansion, praised as a cultural icon. Jay-Z once rapped about legacy, about breaking generational curses, but how do those lyrics hold up when there are people out here fighting just to hear a yes or a no? And the court system hasn't helped. Both Leticia's and Ramir's lawsuits were dismissed without definitive answers, no DNA tests were ordered, no statements from Jay-Z's side, just silence, legal silence, strategic silence, but silence nonetheless. For many, that silence feels like guilt wrapped in legal red tape. Jay-Z doesn't have to speak because the system gives him the privilege not to. And in that silence, the court of public opinion has started handing out its own verdicts. Beyonce's name keeps getting dragged through the mud too. Fans argue over how much she knew and whether she's protecting her image or truly in the dark. People forget she's human. She's a wife and a mother trying to shield her family from a media storm that's spinning out of control. And yet, her silence also adds to the mystery. Some think she's furious behind closed doors. Others believe she's numb to the situation, tired of playing damage control for a man whose past keeps catching up. There's also the matter of Jay-Z's earlier music. Songs where he hinted at having children before Blue Ivy was even born. Now those lyrics are being dissected like confessions. Fans are playing detective, digging through old interviews, pulling up photos, analyzing timelines, and trying to fill in the blanks. The question isn't just whether Leticia or Ramier is telling the truth. The question is, how many more might be out there? Because Leticia and Ramier may just be the ones who found the courage or the platform to speak up. But what if they're not alone? What if Jay-Z's story includes even more chapters he thought were long buried? That's the part that's keeping fans, critics, and even former supporters up at night. The idea that this might just be the beginning of something bigger. Until Jay-Z addresses it directly, speculation won't stop. It's not about gossip anymore. It's about truth, responsibility, and the people who feel erased from a legacy that shaped hip-hop history. Whether the truth ever sees the inside of a courtroom or not, the stories are out, and they've changed the way people see the man behind the empire.